Welcome to our course on fundamentals of game design and game play. We are discussing gameplay in terms of game design. We are discussing the topic whether to save a game or not and why and the related topics. So immersion and storytelling, it is also part of that. I think immersion, what does it mean? I think immersion means that uh, the player's level of thinking, that how he is involved with the game or how he inhabits with the game world. The more he thinks that he is inside the game world, pretending he is not in the real world but he inhabits in the game world, the more immersion he is feeling with the game. But saving games is not always beneficial to the player's experience. The saving can take him out of the game world, harms the player's immersion, harms the illusion that the player inhabits in a fantasy world. When you allow the player to repeat the past, you acknowledge the unreality of the game world. In you harm the immersion of the game. Ways to save a game: you can use password to save your game, save to a file or save slots. You can offer quick save options, automatic save, and checkpoints. What are these? We'll see. Passwords, I think these are more appropriate when they were the console games. There were no storage space there, but today more console games or more consoles, they also come with storage spaces. Anyway, in password based system, you offer the player a password. After he finishes a level, he can use that password to play the next level, so the player can come anytime and play the next level. He does not have to save the game in the middle. So another option is save to a file or save a slot. I think in this aspect the player saves the game to the file system. Maybe he can also choose the path. He can save at different points of the game and he can recover any one of them. But it also harms the player's immersion with the game. When you offer him the file system, it just harms the immersion a lot. Sometimes the games, they can use the concept journals and allow the player to save the game in a journal using some names or numbers or something like that, but it does not offer the open the file system there, just saving the game in a file. Better than passwords, no, better than the file system. And quick save, I think it's just one key press save. Usually fast games offer this type of saving mechanism. You press a button to save, you press another button to reload it. It does not harm players' immersion a lot because it just triggers one single button press, but still it's not the absolute immersion as well. Sometimes I think quick save method, you just offer saving at one point, you lose the previous ones. That can be the disadvantage, but you can offer the option by pressing a key and pressing the number to provide the slot or current point of the game, and you can reload the same way, latest or earlier saves. Automatic save and checkpoints, I think the game automatically saves the game. You don't have to worry about it. Maybe when you exit from the game, it will save it from there. It does not harm the immersion, but there is no way you can recover from a recent or past disaster. It does not allow you to go back in the past from the checkpoint. Yeah, I think one aspect is you can save after the player exits, or maybe you can save automatically. The game can decide about different checkpoints and save the game there, and the player will be allowed to play from that checkpoint. This saving may or may not be visible to the player. I think in automatic checkpoint is less disruptive than quick saving because he doesn't have to press any key. The game is being saved automatically at certain checkpoints. The player may be able to recover a disaster provided that the disaster has happened after a recent checkpoint. But if it happened before that checkpoint, that player will not be able to go back to the before than that. I think if you think about in terms of considering player-centric view, it may be worse than the quick save, because player-centric design, it prefers the player should be able to save whenever and whatever he wants to save, but it provides better immersion. You may offer optional checkpoints, but saving at will is always preferable to save or not to save a game. I think some designers don't allow to save the game at certain region or point of the game, or don't allow the saving at all. The logic behind this is, I think the logic is the player should be using his skills to win the game, not trial and error process. And it allows the user to avoid undesirable random events, but it's part of the game. The player has to enjoy it and overcome those with his skills. It also prevents the immersion of the game. Other designers argue that players should be allowed to save their game. Preventing to save actually adds more difficulty than fun. They argue that if you want to make the game harder, you can make the challenges harder. The player should not be forced to play the entire game just because he has made a mistake near the end. It wastes players' time and not good for fun, causes frustration and boredom, not really a player-centric game design, as most players will want to be able to save the game and come back to it and play it again. As a designer, you may not like the saving and reloading part, but the player does not play or buy the game to make the designer feel good. The player may have legitimate reasons to save the game. The notion that allowing to save the game makes the game easy for the player, make the player opponent of the designer. That's not a player-centric design. If the players want, the designer should allow saving, and most players want this. Considering this, maybe it's better to allow the saving. Most games now recognize that players want and sometimes need to cheat. That's how the games also offer cheat codes anyway. The designers on the saving side, preferring saving, also argue that you should not penalize the player just because he has to go to the washroom. You may think about advantages and disadvantages. Maybe you can provide the player save the game, and preferably whenever and wherever he wants. Now, whether the player wants to save it or not to save it, leave it to the player. If it's a competition, the players are playing as a competition, then maybe they will not save anyway, but the player has the fundamental right to stop playing without losing whatever he has accomplished. So I think in general it's better to provide the option to save the game. Now the summary of gameplay lectures. Gameplay is the heart of the game's entertainment. Other things evolve around it. The character design, the storytelling, the user interfaces, core mechanics is part of gameplay to make the gameplay real. So you should provide significant effort and focus on it. So whatever we have discussed so far, with this background, with the information, you should be able to analyze the gameplay of most of the games in the market. You also should be able to design games that offers similar kinds of challenges and actions. Thanks and have a good day. If I have time, I may try to take this opportunity to service. This is justetc.net, our software development, web development, and the corresponding consulting services. mall.justetc.org, our online shop. You can order the products. university.justetc.org,